My name's Seamus Breslin, and was researching the First World War. And met a fella called Trevor who we both shared the same enthusiasm for the First World War, and we got together and we started doing a lot of research on it. Through our research, we ended up spending a lot of time here in Derry City Cemetery because there were a lot of war-related graves. And whilst we were here doing the First World War research, we noticed that the vandalism was starting to become endemic. We noticed a lot of drinkers and beer cans and things like that. And so when we finished the First World War research, we decided to do something about it. And both of us were unemployed graduates, him from the Fountain, me from the Craigan, both traditions. And we decided to form the Friends of Derry City Cemetery.
As a Protestant brought up into the Fountain, I would have felt uncomfortable about coming here because of the situation. And yet at the same time, I knew that there was a rich Protestant history here in the city, you know, that has been neglected for a long time, and I thought that maybe it's about time that this was all brought out again, you know. So
we started bringing back members of the Unionist community that maybe felt the place was a cold place in the past because it's surrounded by the Bogside, the Brandywell, and the Craigan. But their ancestors and their people, their histories here as well.
It was back, I remember the very first message I got relating to the cemetery from Seamus was the 9th of June 2014, St Columba's Day. St Columba has a habit of following me around, you know. I wrote a book about St Columba back in 2006, and for some strange reason the 9th of June keeps coming up over and over and over again. So that's how I remember that the Seamus sent me this message on the 9th of June 2014, and he says, you know, there's the cemetery there. You know, there's Protestant graves, there's Catholic graves, and we can do something. We got to this success, this shared space success with the Diamond Mar Memorial Project, and there's an opportunity to do something similar here, you know, with the city cemetery. And so the two of us got together and we created that, and then there's been a big interest, you know, since.
The kids, the school groups and youth groups that we bring over here sometimes find us about what at the start. Why are we going to this cemetery? They look at graves and dead people. And after we're done, they all send back the feedback's excellent, fantastic, positive. The anti-vandalism message is really strong, and the education aspect of it. The last feedback I got from the last school, basically all of them were saying that they'd learnt more about history in their community, in their country, and their people on my tour than what they had done in months and months in the classroom, reading books and that. So it was really, you can touch it, you can feel it, it's there, it feels you, it grabs you, it touches you.
Passion for local history, passion for this graveyard. It's got a rich history, you know. And you go walk around and you'll see a tomb, you'll see a gravestone, you'll see a name, a few wee bits of information. But behind every single name, there's a story. There's an absolute story, and there's a gem, and sometimes there's gems come out. We had in histories, you know, that was one of the things too. But when I was reading about general histories of the city, it was the same thing over again, Amelia Earhart and so forth. One of the things that I love to discover is the hidden history and interesting history. And sometimes you find it here, you'll find a gravestone, and you'll see a name and a family, and you'll find some really amazing stories.
I think the greatest success we're having so far is the absence of the vandalism and antisocial behaviour. We've reclaimed community ownership of the cemetery. We've brought the community back involved in it. Even just our presence here puts people off from committing antisocial acts.
As I always say, they Seamus, you know, you go to Liverpool, Eleanor Rigby was a name on a grave, and then all of a sudden, Lennon McCartney made her world famous. Father Mackenzie, Eleanor Rigby, but they were just names in the graves. And it's the same here, you know. You look around and every grave, there's an Eleanor Rigby and there's a Father Mackenzie looking to come out. Everybody's got a story, and that's one of the great passions and things we love to bring out here. And even the amount of stories we have actually come across this past four and a half years, you know, and hey, Seamus had discovered such and such is buried in the city cemetery. I'm going to hear the story behind it, and you know, so but it's fascinating, you know.
Look at the view. The people from America, Canada, Australia come on here and they all look around and they say to me, we thought the Irish were crazy, now we're convinced. I said, what makes you convinced we're crazy? You look around there, this should be prime real estate, this is where the film stars, the snobs should be living, and yous have got a cemetery. You can see 3 counties. McGilligan, the foil.